Jataka Tales of the Buddha, Prince Goodspeaker and the Water Demon. Once upon a time, there was a very righteous king. He had a lovely queen who gave birth to a beautiful baby. This made the king very happy. He decided to give his son a name that might help him in later life. So he called him Prince Goodspeaker. In time, the queen gave birth to another son, who was named Prince Moon. Shortly after both children began walking about, their mother suddenly became very sick and died. To help him look after his playful children, the king found a princess to become his new queen. In a few years, this queen gave birth to a beautiful, bright little boy. He was named Prince Sun. Since the king was so happy, he wanted to please his queen and reward her for bringing up all 3 children. So he promised to grant her one wish. The queen considered and said, "Thank you, my lord. I will make my wish at some time in the future." As time went on, the 3 princes grew into wonderful, playful youngsters. The queen saw that Prince Goodspeaker was intelligent and understanding. She thought, "If those 2 older princes remain in the palace, my son, Prince Sun, will never get a chance to be king. Therefore, I must do something to make him the next king." One day, when the king was in a good mood, the queen respectfully approached him and reminded him of the promised wish. He was very happy and said, "Ask whatever you want." The queen said, "O my husband and king, grant that after the course of your life is over, my son, Prince Sun, will be the next king." The king was shocked by this request. He became angry and said, "My first 2 children are like bright stars. How can I give the kingdom to my 3rd son? All the people will blame me. That cannot be done." The queen kept silent. As happy as the king had been, he now became just as unhappy. He was afraid and filled with doubt. He suspected that the queen might destroy his firstborn children by some wicked means. He decided that he must make sure his children were safe. Secretly, the king called Prince Goodspeaker and Prince Moon to him. He told them of the queen's dangerous desire. He said that the only safe thing for them to do was to leave the kingdom. They should return only after their father's death and take their rightful places ruling the kingdom. The 2 obedient princes accepted their father's order and prepared to leave. In a few days they were ready. They said their sad goodbyes to their father and friends and left the palace. On their way through the royal gardens, they came upon Prince Sun. He had always been very affectionate and friendly towards his 2 older half-brothers. He was upset to hear that they were leaving for a very long time. So he decided that he too will leave the kingdom. The 3 friends princes departed together. For several months they traveled until they reached the forest country of the mighty Himalayas. They were very tired and sat down under a tree. The oldest brother, Prince Goodspeaker, said to the youngest Prince Sun, "Please go down to the nearby lake and fill some lotus leaves with water. Bring them back here so we all can drink." They did not know that the beautiful dark blue lake was possessed by a water demon. He was permitted by his demon ruler to eat any beings that he could convince to go into the water. There was also one condition. He could not eat anyone who knew the answer to the question, "What is the teaching of the gods?" When Prince Sun arrived at the shore of the lake, being dry and dirty and tired, he went directly into the water without any investigation. Suddenly, the water demon rose up from under the water and captured him. He asked him, "What is the teaching of the gods?" Prince Sun said, "I know the answer to that. The sun and the moon are the teachings of the gods." "You don't know the teaching of the gods, so you belong to me," said the water demon. Then he pulled Prince Sun under the water and locked him up in a deep cave. Since Prince Sun was delayed, Prince Goodspeaker asked the second brother, Prince Moon, to go down to the lake and bring back water in lotus leaves. When he got there, he too went directly into the water without examining. Again the water demon appeared, grabbed him, and asked, "What is the teaching of the gods?" Prince Moon said, "I know the answer to that. The 4 directions, north, east, south, and west. These are the teachings of the gods." "You don't know the teaching of the gods, so you belong to me," replied the water demon. Then he locked up Prince Moon in the same underwater cave with Prince Sun. When both his brothers did not return, Prince Goodspeaker began to worry that they might be in some danger, so he himself went down to the beautiful dark blue lake. And he was a wise and careful person. He did not go directly into the water. Instead, he investigated and saw that there were 2 sets of footprints leading into the lake, but not coming out again. To protect himself, he got his sword and bow and arrows ready. He began to walk around the lake. Seeing that this prince did not go straight into the lake, the water demon appeared to him disguised as a humble villager. He said to him, "My dear friend, you look tired and dirty from much walking. Why don't you get into the water and bathe, drink, and eat some lotus roots?" Remembering the one-way footprints, Prince Goodspeaker said, "You must be some kind of demon disguised as a human. What have you done with my brothers?" Surprised at being recognized so quickly, the water demon returned to his true ferocious appearance. He replied to the wise prince, "By my rights, I have captured your brothers." The prince asked, "For what reason?" "So that soon I can gobble them up," the demon answered. "I have permission from my demon ruler to eat all those who go into this lake who do not know the teaching of the gods. If anyone does know the teaching of the gods, I am not allowed to eat him." The prince asked, "Why do you need to know this? What is the advantage to a demon like you to know the teaching of the gods?" The water demon replied, "I know there must be some advantage to me. Then I will tell you what the gods teach," said Prince Goodspeaker. "But I have a problem. Look at me. I am covered with dust and dirt from traveling. I cannot speak about wise teachings in this condition." By now the water demon realized that this prince was especially wise, so he washed and refreshed him. He gave him water to drink from lotus leaves and tender lotus roots to eat. He prepared a comfortable seat for him, decorated with pretty wild flowers. After laying aside his sword and bow and arrows, the enlightenment being sat on the adorned seat. The ferocious demon sat by his feet, just like a student listening to a respected teacher. Prince Goodspeaker said, "This is the teaching of the gods. You should be ashamed to do unwholesome deeds. You should be afraid to do unwholesome deeds. You should always do wholesome deeds that bring happiness to others and help mankind. Then you will shine with the inner light of calm and peacefulness. The water demon was pleased with this answer and said, "Worthy prince, you have completely satisfied my question. You have made me so happy that I will give you back one of your brothers. Which one do you choose?" Prince Goodspeaker said, "Release my younger brother, Prince Sun." To this the demon replied, "My lord prince, wise one, you know the teaching of the gods, but you do not practice it." The prince asked. "Why do you say that?" The demon said, "Because you leave the older one to die and save the younger. You do not respect elders." The prince then said, "O demon, I know the teaching of the gods, and I do practice it. We, 3 princes, came to this forest because of the youngest brother. His mother requested our father's kingdom for him. So it was for our protection that our father sent us here. The young prince's son joined us out of friendship. But if we return to the court without him and say he was eaten up by a water demon who wanted to know the teaching of the gods, who would believe us? They would think we killed him because he was the cause of our danger. This will bring shame to us and unhappiness to the kingdom. Fearing such unwholesome results, I tell you again to release the young prince's son." The water demon was so pleased with this answer that he said, well, my lord. You know the true teaching of the gods, and you do practice that true teaching. I will gladly give back both your brothers." So saying, he went down into the lake and brought both princes back to shore. They were wet, but unharmed. Later on, the Bodhisattva gave further helpful advice to the demon. He said, "O water demon, my new friend, you must have done many unwholesome deeds in your previous lives, so that you were born as a flesh-eating demon. And if you continue in this way, you will be trapped in a terrible state even in later lives. For unwholesome deeds lead to shame, fear, and unpleasant rebirth, but wholesome deeds lead to self-respect, peace, and pleasant rebirth. Therefore, it would be much better for you to do pure deeds rather than impure deeds from now on." This turned the water demon from his past ways, and the princes lived together happily under his protection. One day, word came that the king had died, so the 3 princes, as well as their friend the water demon, returned to the capital city. Prince Goodspeaker was crowned as king. Prince Moon became the chief minister, and Prince Sun became commander of the army. The water demon was awarded a safe place to live, where he was well fed, cared for, and entertained for the rest of his life. In this way, they all acquired wholesome, meritorious arts, leading to rebirth in a heaven world. This story was told by the Blessed One while at Jataka monastery because of a wealthy brother. This brother, on the death of his wife, became a monk and joined the brotherhood of the monks. When he was joining, he caused to be built for himself a chamber to live in, a room for the fire, and a storeroom. And he not joined until the storeroom was filled with ghee, rice, and other foods. And he had extra clothing and extra bedding. Because of all these extra requisites he kept only for himself, this monk was one day brought in front of the Blessed One. Becoming aware of their presence, the master said, Wherefore it is, brethren, that you have brought the brother against his will. Sir, this brother is well off, and had quite a stock of requisites. Is it true, brother, as they say, that you are so well off? Yes, blessed one. But why, brother, have you amassed these belongings? Do I not extol the virtues of wanting little, contentment, and so forth, solitude, and determined resolve? Angered by the master's words, he cried, Then I'll go about like this. And flinging off his outer clothing, he stood in their midst, clad only in his waistcloth. Then, as a moral support to him, the master said, Was it not you, brother, who in the bygone days were a seeker after the shamefacedness that fears to sin, and even when you were a water demon, lived for 12 years seeking after that shamefacedness? And how then comes it that, after vowing to follow the weighty doctrine of the Buddha, you have flung off your outer robes and stand here devoid of shame? At the master's words, his sense of shame was restored. He donned his robes again and, saluting the master, seated himself to the side. The brethren, having asked the Buddha to explain to them the matter he had mentioned, the Blessed One made clear what had been concealed from them by rebirth. So he told the story of the water demon and the Prince Goodspeaker. His lesson ended, the master preached the truth, at the close whereof the brother won the fruit of the first path. The all-knowing Buddha identified the birth by saying, The well-to-do brother was the water demon of those days. Ananda was Prince Sun, Sariputta was Prince Moon, and I myself the eldest brother, Prince Goodspeaker. The end.